What's up, everybody? A Sparrow with a Gun here from Sleepless Nights with another episode on the Space Engineers Inspiration series. We're starting things off with the... I just looked at the name and I already forgot it. P-E-A or P-A-E? I can't remember. 22 Diplomate. Now, as the name would imply, it's primarily a transport-type ship with diplomatic, I believe, purposes in mind. The description has a lot of different specifics on how the ship runs, the way that the hotbar works, etc., and so on. But however, there's not really a whole lot of lore or anything that I could find to really go through anything like that. It was mostly just how the ship worked. I really have to admit, though, what caught my eye is these rounded edges on this kind of stuff. On the front, I guess, thruster pod here, as well as on the back, they actually used the hydrogen tanks and stuff. I think these are hydrogen tanks and other rounded edges, and you don't really see rounded very much. You always see the angled blocks, slope blocks, etc. So when I saw this kind of rounded look, I was kind of like, is this modded? Is this not modded? You know, that kind of thing. And, again, most all of these builds this episode, I think if they require anything, it's the paid DLC decorative packs. But, so yeah, that was really cool. I really like this thruster engine design and stuff, and I wanted to kind of take a closer look at it. One thing I find interesting is that the cryo chamber is out here on the back. That's kind of surprising, and I wasn't expecting that, but it looks pretty cool. I really do like the little details they did with the engine pods, like even wrapping them around in the armor slopes and stuff. It just adds a little bit more believability, I guess, to it. It looks more like something that engineers and stuff would actually design, which is pretty cool. Now, the one thing I did want to mention is that in the description it talks about a special door, which I'm assuming is this one right here. Now, it says that for printing, ergo, I believe anyway, using a projector and a welder, you can't actually automate the door. So I pasted it in as a blueprint in Creative, so I think that's fine. We're going to find out here in a second when I try and open it. But to, in Survival, just pull up the game and try and use a projector and welders and stuff, I don't think this would work. So bear that in mind as we check out this relatively cool door, because I think it looks pretty neat, especially with glass. Okay. That is really cool. I wonder why. Maybe because it's got a merge block and it's connected with a piston. I'm trying to figure out why exactly you would have issues just printing this. This door was built to be clang-proof. Rule 1 in SE, clang always stills watching you with malicious intent, so take the LCD above seriously. Open, close the door when floating at your own risk. When floating. I hope that means when I'm floating, because otherwise, I mean, we're kind of floating out here in space. Depressurize on and off. Where's the retract button for the door? There it is. Whoop. Stupid frickin'... I hate mag boots. I really do. Anyway, that's a really cool door, though. I'm growing to where I really like the merge block. Me and mag boots are gonna have a talk. Let me try... Can I pressurize the room, maybe? Will that help? Nope. It's gravity, not pressure. I should have remembered that. Alright, fine. But yeah, so I really like these doors. We've seen... Dag nabbit, this is driving me nuts. This hallway is so small, and every time I, get anywhere near it, it keeps wanting to grab onto the wall. Anyway, we've seen this in a few different builds, and it's become a lot more popular in the last couple of years, I think. Actually, probably last year, specifically. But the maglock... Or, yeah, is it? No, merge block, not maglock. The merge block type doors that are kind of part of the ship. Although this one does look like it has a little sliver of a crack there, so I don't know if it would fully pressurize or if that's just the game's visual glitch that you know, because that's looks like a blast door, that the collision box isn't fully there, but I wonder if it thinks that it's airtight or not. So, I don't know. I can't quite... It says oxygen's high, though I have my mask on. Nope. It's saying it is sealed. So that's just kind of that whole, because it's a blast door block, it's not quite technically fully flush just to look at it kind of thing. But yeah, so overall, and I really do like the glass bridge here. Works really well. Again, this is actually... Good Lord, stop locking to everything but the floor. I really wish there was a way to align, like, if you didn't have gravity, that you could tell it this is the floor, stop, or at least turn them off. Can I turn them off? Nope, that picks colors. Alright, I'll just have to bear with it. Anyways, sorry. It just drives me crazy. But yeah, this is another example of, I believe, I don't know if it was part of the update or if it was part of the DLC pack, but now we have the small grid glass panels, which is really cool. So this makes good use of that. I mean, this looks like one of those large ship grid canopies, except it's a small grid. So that works really, I think it's a small grid, yeah. So that works really well. Alright, so... Overall, I like the ship. It's a little bit smaller, but again, it's kind of for, like, public or diplomatic transport. It's not really designed as a big freight carrier or anything like that. So let's go ahead and give it a little bit of a test run. We've got the cameras for the Gatling guns, ion thruster brakes. That's interesting. Hydro thrusters, brakes. Okay. Got all of these controls, which we really don't need to mess with all that much, because it's just kind of the bells and whistles of the ship. Air vents. It did, I believe this was the ship that mentioned in the description that you could pilot it in atmosphere and you could land in transition stuff if you were skilled enough. So kind of bear that in mind, because I'm not entirely sure what that means, but, you know, it is what it is. So let's see. We've got our Gatling guns. It actually moves really well. Again, it's a smaller ship, so it's not that surprising, but it does move really well. So with that, I think that's going to do it for this one. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, so next up we have the Symbiote Corvette. This is actually a really interesting ship to me for two reasons. One, timing is really appropriate. I don't know exactly when this was made, but I think it's really interesting that I saw it and noticed it right around the time that, like, No Man's Sky announced they were doing the whole living ship thing that you could get, which I think is really kind of funny. So, the idea here is that a species eventually evolved into a living ship, and the symbiotic relationship is that it still needs a host pilot. Really interesting concept, actually. But I can't get over the aesthetic design. Now, the biggest thing for me is, once again, this does require one of the DLC packs, but other than that, there's no mods. And I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's the texture that they're using here, or if it's just the design, but something looks unique to me in that I wouldn't have thought they could have done this in vanilla. And so I'm kind of finding that to be, since I've come back to Space Engineers after my, like, year-long sabbatical, I'm kind of finding that is kind of becoming the trend, is that I keep looking at things going, wow, this is vanilla, so I guess vanilla has stepped up its game. One of the biggest things I like about this is the outer shell. I've got to figure out how to do this in my own builds, because I really like the look of it. I guess it's kind of just a mounted point and you go out above it, but it looks really cool to me when ships have, like, this outer shell kind of look, and especially the spacing in between with these little interior pillars. Great use of interior pillars, by the way. I feel like this is one of those blocks that we hardly ever use either enough or right or anything like that, and this is a really fun but yet unique and subtle way to make use of them. But I really do like this kind of plating look. It's not just like there's an external shell on top of it that just sits. It's actually got this kind of like connected plate type look, which is really cool. I really like this shape here. Probably one of my favorite shapes on this build is this right here, this 3-layered or 3-row kind of thing with this arm archway connected to it. Really, really cool. Yeah, I just really like the design. I was gonna say I like these like nacelle type front parts of these engines. I kind of just am realizing this is just kind of creative. I really like the design of it. It's using I think it's one of Whiplash's scripts that use the custom turrets. So that's what these are here, I believe. I don't know how oh, there's the rotors. I was gonna say I can't. Kudos to hiding the rotors because I really couldn't tell how it would spin. I don't think it can spin this way though, would be my guess. Well, that looks like that's got a rotor on it though, so maybe it does. I don't know, because that looks super... No, I guess it does, because I don't see the connecting seam there. And that's really close, but not actually sealed together, so that must actually turn to... That's some of the most well-hidden turret rotation gears and stuff that I've seen in a very, very long time, so kudos to that, because that's very, very well done. Now, in all of this expertness and well-hidden creativity, I am sure that the door is very easy to find as well. I'm sure that it's not complicated, it's not hidden and obscure in any way, and I'm sure it's very easy to find. Now, I think this is it, actually. Let's just see if the one-time mag boots come in handy. Door left. Oh, I get it, and that's what this is here for. Oh, very clever. Wait a minute. Do I have this pasted in wrong? No, I don't. Okay, so one thing is being that this is a symbiote. You're actually in like the guts of the ship, or the being. This is clever. This is really cool. This is really fun. Like, it's almost got like a brain nerve thing hooked up to it, kind of thing. That's really cool. So that's really fun. Alright, so okay, so 6. That'll close that door. We've got rocket launchers. The designators are what let you control the turrets. And then we've got camera view. Oh, now that's funny. I don't know how they did that, but it's actually got kind of like an eyeball iris kind of look to it. I really would want to know how they did that. That's really cool. Alright, so we've got our readouts up there. Technically speaking, you've got your camera out here for controlling... I don't know if I can control them that way or not. Let's just... Okay, so it is controlling the missiles. I'm guessing that's kind of your front view. Oh, that's how they did it! Okay. So that's what all those spotlights are for. Oops, wrong button. The spotlights are for when you go into the camera, it gives this cone kind of look because of all the light. That's really cool. I like that. Okay. And then I'm a little confused on how that is working. Where are the... Oh, the gun turrets are over there on the side. Okay. So what is this labeled as? View. I don't remember. It said in the description something about you could control the missile turrets, but it's like not letting me move around, so I'm not sure. I don't want to mess anything up. But yeah, so that's firing the actual turrets right there. So let's check how the symbiote moves. Someone needs to take this and do a Venom version where it's like black and white because it's the symbiote and all that. That would be really cool. Just throwing that out there. But yeah, so it actually moves really well, it turns really nice, and it accelerates pretty good. The only thing where it's a little on the sluggish side is the lateral left and right thrusters. If you're just using those, it doesn't seem to move over quite as quick as the rest of the ship, but overall it's very nimble, and with the turret controls and stuff, it would probably be even better. So I think that's about it for this one. Really cool ship, very unique if nothing else, and let's move on to the next one. Alrighty, and last but not least, we have the SC-02 Wayfarer. This ship actually caught my eye for two reasons. One, I really do kind of like the exterior design of it. We've seen a lot of similar designs, as I've mentioned before, you know, kind of the ribbed type hull where it's got these bands going around it to give it some texture and things. Really, really cool. Kind of has that industrial feel to it. But I actually like it also for some of the, like, creative design type aspects. For example, one thing is having like a logo here and stuff from the builder, a nice touch. The other thing is from some of the screenshots, it has a really cool interior design, as you can kind of see here where it's got wood flooring, and I mentioned that in an episode or two ago. I really love the idea of reaching a point with space travel where you can start doing like luxury space yachts and not just NASA-like engineer type ships. So anytime I see like glass windows with wood flooring inside of a spaceship, I'm kind of like drooling, like, oh, that looks so cool. So when I saw that in the screenshots, I was like, yeah, I've got to poke around this ship because it looks really neat. Actually, one thing, this is a really weird thing, but I really like the railing around here. I didn't even notice that in the screenshots, but I really like the railing because it kind of gives almost a walkway or cruise deck kind of feel to it, which, according to the description, the primary purpose of the ship is exploration, science, and or transportation. So it's definitely not a combat ship, although it does seem to have a good amount of armament on the top layer, at least, with a few minor ones on the ventral. One of these days I'm gonna like know that by heart, but I'm pretty sure that's the ventral side of the ship. So it's definitely not designed for combat or whatever, but you've got a nice little landing pad here. It kind of reminds me of a hybrid between a yacht and like a transport type vessel, like a almost like an APC type thing where it's designed for carrying people and passengers, but yet it's got a little bit of that luxury feel to it. Is kind of my take on the ship. But we've got a nice little landing pad here. You could fit a pretty decent sized shuttle or drone or, you know, whatever. Let's see, we've got lights, interior, exterior, connector switch, so we don't need to mess with that. I'm going to turn my headlamps off for a minute, just so we can kind of see the interiors and whatnot. So, like, stuff like this. We got a nice little planter and a view, you know, that kind of stuff. I like the kind of attention to accommodation, if that makes sense, if that's a proper phrasing. That even if it's a transport vehicle, it's not just like, here's your bunk, you know, kind of thing. It's got a little bit of that comfort feel. I love the wood flooring thing. That's one of my favorite textures that they added. I was like, oh my gosh, it's I'm not gonna lie. I am not going to lie. It's one of the things that I felt Empyrean had over Space Engineers for a while, was you could actually do wood flooring in your ship. And so when they announced that that was coming in the texture pack thing, I was giddy that I'm like, we can finally do like luxury yachts with wood flooring kind of thing. Or even if you wanted to do a colonial sailing ship, you could actually make the whole thing out of wood so that it looked like a proper deck, you know, stuff like that. So I love the use of the wood flooring here, or the wood block. We've got cryo chambers back here with an armory and some planters and whatnot. So nice little storage area to lock up all of your weapons and gear. Is that all there is on this floor? I was kind of trying to go floor by, or deck by deck kind of thing. That's going to be the exterior. Okay, and we came down from up here, right? I'm getting a little turnaround, not gonna lie. Okay, that's the bridge. That's where we came in from on the back by the landing pad. Okay. So we've got this down here, and then the 2 doors. So let's go ahead and go to the back here. That's going to be that. Alright, so let's go down. Ooh, look at this. So this is where we saw before. Like, this is just cool. Like, this just seems like a comfortable ship. It's not like, man, you gotta rough it in space. It's kind of just like, seems fun. Like I said, kind of somewhere between a yacht and like a transport. It's got kind of the militaristic, transporty kind of feel, but yet it's got a little bit more luxury to it. So I really like the overall vibe of the ship. Got a nice little hangar bay back here, probably for a rover or something. Usually those back bays with the horizontal connection ports are usually for like some kind of jeep. We've got the galley, it looks like. I'm gonna go with galley. Love the view. I mean, honestly, could you get any better view than just being able to like sit in your kitchen and look out and be in space? That's just crazy. This would also make a really cool submarine type ship because, again, luxury. The whole luxury submarine thing's always been a fantasy of mine too. I always thought that would be a cool, kind of like a, you know, like Royal Caribbean underwater, you know, kind of thing. Like, instead of a cruise ship, you get a cruise sub. I always thought that would be cool. This is another neat trick too. They use the same wood texture but change the color to give it a different vibe. Very subtle but very nice touch. I like that. Also commendable use of the, what are they calling these now? Graded catwalks. So yeah, that's also really cool. I like the alternating color palette between this dark like charcoal and the white color. It has a good contrast to it, especially with the wood look in here. Really well done art design kind of thing, if nothing else. Alright, I am definitely getting turned around in here. So, I don't remember all those gyroscopes, so I'm going to say I haven't been back here yet. Nope, been back here. So I didn't go that way. Where did I go? Oh, I went this way and I just didn't look over here at all the gyroscopes, apparently. Okay. So, we went that way, that goes back up there, so we have to go further down, I'm thinking. And this is all cargo bay access, it looks like. So let's go further this way. That is a conveyor pipe, I'm guessing maintenance access point. So, probably all there is to see in terms of the interior. I'm gonna go out on a limb. What do we got here? Emergency beacon on off, antennas on off, lights interior, lights exterior, toggle artificial gravity, that's a nice little setting. Projector repair. Oh, okay, I wasn't sure if it would be one of these or not. Yeah, so it has a repair system built in, where you can project it and it'll try and repair it, that kind of thing. Alright, so control-wise, we've got all of our thrusters, spotlights. Not sure where the spotlights are going to come from. Parachutes, camera, connector, landing gear. Fairly basic stuff, nothing too crazy, nothing complicated. Jump controls. Looks like manual overrides for maybe planetary, since they're all upward. So that's kind of interesting. So yeah, nothing too fancy. But it moves really nice. I mean, that's pretty quick to accelerate, and it turns more like a heavy fighter than like a Corvette or anything, so it actually moves really good. So, hey, by the way, look at that! I actually got a 20-minute episode out of the Inspiration series. Haven't done that since I got back from my sabbatical, apparently. So I'm kind of excited about that. We're looking at the 25-26 minute mark, and we're good to go. I mean, yeah, I picked more Corvette-sized ships and didn't have to spend 20 minutes running through each ship, but still, I'd say it's progress. We're getting there. So with that, I'm going to wrap things up here for today. I hope you all enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, and I will see you all next time. Peace!